Today is the feast day of Ephraim of Syria, a saint of the church that I actually knew very little about until very recently, when I watched our Adult Forum series a few weeks back. During that series, our own Dr. Lisa Toland Williams, a historian and professor at Montreat, introduced us to St. Ephraim. And what made me fall in love with Ephraim was not that he was a great theologian, which he was, not that he was a saint of the church, which he was, or a deacon of the church, but that he was a poet of the church. And he would turn to verse and hymn and poem in order to plumb the depths and the mysteries of God. He was so well known, he was often referred to as the harp of the Holy Spirit, or the lyre of the Holy Spirit, the Lyre of the Holy Spirit. You can even find one of his hymns in our own hymnal, the 1984 hymn book. And so this week, since we just finished celebrating Trinity Sunday, I began to explore some of his poetry about the Trinity. What struck me was that unlike some of his contemporaries that would often turn to Western rational philosophy to explore and explain the Trinity, Ephraim, as an Eastern Christian, was much more comfortable in mystery and mysticism. And so his writing about the Trinity has a different feel from some of his contemporaries. In one of his poems, he talks about the Trinity in terms of the sun. And he actually invites people to go outside and to see the sun, to look at the sun, but then to turn your eyes away from the sun and continue to see its light all around you. And then to close your eyes and to feel the warmth of the sun. That, he said, is what it's like when we talk about the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, each being three distinct, separate persons, but one God. How they're all kind of commingled together and unified and all united in that one kind of purpose in nature, but that they are three separate and distinct things all at the same time. What's so striking about this is he doesn't just explain the Trinity. He's trying to invite people into an experience of it, to connect it into their daily lives. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons why the Trinity has been so notoriously difficult to wrap our minds around throughout Christian history, and why it's caused so much conflict, is that we've been trying to explain and pick apart the mystery of God, rather than experiencing the mystery of God, as St. Ephraim invites us to do. You know, if you think about the Trinity, it's so unlike so many of our relationships in the world. Our relationships in this world are almost always tinged by brokenness, even our healthiest of relationships. Sometimes that takes the form of wanting control over another person, or being in competition with them. Sometimes it's about trying to get power over a person in small ways or even large ways. And at our worst and most damaging, that desire for domination or even exploitation. And that's not just between two people. It's also in our relationships more broadly, in our community, and between groups of people. So I wonder if this week, if we took the time, instead of trying to think how the Trinity can be true, we think, what does it mean for us that it is true? That God's fundamental nature is one of loving relationship, unity in the midst of difference, without domination, without control, without a desire for power, but harmoniously working together. It's tempting to think that what we need more of is to go out and to love more and to be more unified and to be more harmonious with each other, and all those things are good, things that we do want for our world. But I wonder if another way to approach that is to find where our relationships diverge with the example given to us in the very nature of God. To find those places where there is that brokenness, where there is that desire for domination, desire for exploitation, desire for control and power and competition, for it to be selfishly in my benefit rather than someone else's. And to begin to find ways to change those dynamics, to heal those wounds and that brokenness. To be, as the writer of Isaiah says, repairers of that breach, so that we can begin to restore relationships to who we are made to be in the image of God. Relationships based in love, based in unity across difference. Amen.